Hey y'all, welcome back to Planet Coaster Miniatures. We're working on Fallen Rocks, and this is episode 6, and I'm surprised it is still going on. I didn't expect it to take this long, actually. But I like what's going on so far, and in this episode we are going to be working on building this tunnel. As you can see, this is going to be the final tunnel for the ride, so I'm just putting up the concrete that would actually be supporting all this rock and earth structure around the buried loop, because we believe in safety here and we want everything to be nice and safe for our Planet Coaster riders. And the next thing I'll be working on after this is the lookout tower that's going to be at the top of the lift hill and the structure that's going up to that. And you'll actually see me build approximately two versions of this, because I did one, I got the basics for one going, and then I didn't like where it ended up. It looked pretty janky, so I did actually cut out some of that. So what you'll see is just the basic first finished structure, and once you take a look at it, you'll see why I just wasn't happy with it. It was kind of off a little bit. So what I did was sleep on it overnight, thought about it, and came up with a different plan for what I wanted to do with it. So I started that, and it's pretty much finished now. You'll see it at the end of the video. I'll show you you'll see the completed, and then I'll show you some cinematics, and if you have any feedback, of course, I'll be glad to hear it. But I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks. I might add a little bit. I need to add a little bit of the trees and rocks and so forth around it, but you'll see in just a few minutes it looks pretty good. So, and this tunnel, I'm actually pretty happy with how it came out. It looks better than the last one I did. This is the first kind of underground tunnel that I've ever tried to do in Planet Coaster, so I keep working on this one for just a little while, and it actually comes out looking pretty decent. And I also put work on just a little bit of a trail here. If you remember in one of the previous episodes, I sat lookout towers all around the area, because I assume, once again, I'm trying to think this village through, and I'm assuming that they would have lookouts just to keep track of any other tribes that might be coming their way. So and in order to get there, I'm creating paths to all those, just to make it a little bit more realistic and a little bit more theme to what would actually be going on here. So you see, I just added the start of that path, and I'll be trying to pretty it up in just a little while. So one thing I wanted to tell you is that when this video goes live, I will actually be at Wisp Mountain Resort in Maryland. I'll be riding a mountain coaster. It's going to be the first one I've ever been on, actually, so I'm looking forward to that. And I got a GoPro and some pivot head glasses, so I'm going to be all geeked out and filming as much as possible, and I will definitely upload some videos of that. I'm also going tubing there, another thing I've never really done in terms of at a ski resort. Obviously, I said in an earlier episode, I'm from West Virginia, so obviously I've gone sledding and so forth down mountains and things like that, so should be a good time. And I'm really looking forward to testing out the equipment I bought, the GoPro and the pivot head glasses, to see how they work, because I actually have some, I don't want to say big plans, but I definitely have some plans for my channel where I want to take it. I still want to work on Planet Coaster and No Limits 2 and FVD and show videos of that, but I also want to get into filming videos of when I go to parks and so forth. And with that being said, I've got quite a few plans actually to visit parks this year. So I'll be going to Wisp to ride a mountain coaster in just a few days, and then at the end of March, I've already got 3 parks planned. I'll be going to the media day for Twisted Timbers. I'll be going to Hershey Park on the 30th of March, and I'll be going to Six Flags America on April 2nd. So I live right in the mid-Atlantic region of the United States in Maryland, so it's easy for me to get to a lot of these parks, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to the media day of Twisted Timbers. That should be a lot of fun. So I'll definitely, as long as we're allowed to, I'll bring back video of that. And I'll definitely be bringing back video from Hershey Park and Six Flags America. And then Well, let me pause talking about that. And you see here, I'm starting to work on the structure for the what I'm assuming to be the sort of lookout towers that are going to go around the lift hill. And it actually does end up looking nice. I like the way it looks when it finishes. So just bear with me while this is being built, because it definitely goes through a few stages of looking kind of rough and janky, and you'll see that. But I fixed it up pretty well. And again, if you have any feedback or suggestions on how it could look even better, I'd appreciate hearing that. At first, the structure is completely surrounding the lift hill all the way up, or for the most part all the way up, and it really, you're going to see it just looks weird, like, because everything, the angles are all off. It's not following the angle of the lift the way it should. So I definitely corrected that. I rethought how it would be set up, so you'll see that in just a few minutes. And to get back to what I was saying about parks I'm going to be visiting, these are the ones I've just confirmed so far. So we already have, we've got the Wisp, the Mountain Coaster, we've got Hershey Park, Six Flags America, and Kings Dominion. Then in the end of May, I'm going on a long trip. I'm going to be hitting up Idlewild, Kennywood, Conneaut, Waldameer, Cedar Point, and Kings Island. That's going to be a nice long road trip. I'm going with another coaster buddy of mine, so it should be a good time. I'm going to be 2 days at Cedar Point, actually, and the other parks will be here and there, so it's going to take about a week, and I'll definitely be taking videos of all that. I haven't been to some of those parks in a while. Conneaut is one of my favorite parks. I don't know why, I just love that park. I think because it's traditional, and I love the Blue Streak. It's not the best coaster ever, but it's very unique in terms of just being totally in the woods and old, and it's just hard to find anything like that anymore. So I'm looking forward to seeing that again. And I haven't been to Waldameer in a long time, since I haven't even been on Ravine Flyer 2. So I'm looking forward to that. So there's going to be a lot of good content coming up, and then I know I'm going to go to Six Flags Great America at some point this year in Chicago. I have never actually been there, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to go back to Carowinds in October. I have a wedding to go to in North Carolina, and so I'm going to also go to Carowinds. I went there last year, I think. Yeah, last year. And Fury's a great ride. So, and actually, Carowinds has a lot of great rides. If you haven't been there, I would definitely recommend going, because not only is Fury excellent, but Intimidator is really good, and Afterburn, I think that's what they call the inverted coaster. That's a really good inverted coaster. So Carowinds is definitely worth the trip, and since I'm going to be in the area, I'm going to stop by. So that's everything I have planned for now. Let me just get back to this real fast. You can see here how these ladders going up are all different angles, and I stuck that tower on the top, and I was just like, this looks like jank. So, like I said, you can see now I removed a lot of it, and I decided to go a different direction with it. And what I decided to do instead was to put a path that goes up the side of the lift. And this is how the villagers would get from the area of the living quarters and up to this sort of lookout point. So I'm going to be working on that. And there's some support structure at the top. I keep that lookout tower, and I add a little side to it just to make it kind of asymmetrical, because I find asymmetry more interesting to look at in general. I used to be, and this is like, now we're getting into design philosophy, but I said in an earlier video that my educational background was I double majored in computer science and mathematics. But before that, I actually went to art school. And so I've got an extensive background in art history and painting and that kind of thing. And for years I was really into really symmetrical things, and at some point that kind of lost its appeal to me, and I find asymmetry much more visually stimulating now. So I'm totally off on a complete digression here, but so I like to make asymmetrical structures. I just find them more interesting to look at. So the tower comes out looking a little bit asymmetrical, and I have an idea of what I want the living quarters to be, which is going to be in that big area, unfinished area in the middle. And then the station, I actually have no idea what that's going to look like. I know I want it to be some sort of, I'm assuming, ceremonial building, because this is really turning into a complete village. We've got the game area we put in, we've got the defenses, we're going to have the living quarters, I've even got paths to water and so forth. So I want the station to look like some sort of ceremonial village without being inappropriate. In that, I don't want it to I'm not trying to make a roller coaster station into like a church or something. That just might be a little bit, it might be a bit of a faux pas. So we'll see. But I actually have no idea what I want that to look like. Perhaps it's going to look a little more sophisticated than the rest of the village, because obviously right now we're just dealing with a bunch of scaffolding and that kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see where it's going. So still working on this and getting the general idea down. This tower is going to be removed in a minute, and already I'm liking this better. I'm like, that looks cleaner, it looks neater, it doesn't look so slapdash like it was just slapped together. So now I am starting to work on the supporting structure going up to it, and I like the way it looks too when you ride the coaster. It looks like you're just inside some sort of structure, which is it's interesting going up the lift hill. It actually reminds me of that inverted ride, in which I can't think of the name of it right now, in Fantasialand. I wasn't thinking of that when I started work on this, but it does remind me of that, and I like that look. I think it's an interesting look. That's an interesting ride altogether. I think next year I'm going to go to Fantasialand and check that out, because I'd like to ride that in Terran, just because of the extensive theming. I think that would be cool. So which brings me back to my plans for this year. Look, I'm already moving ahead to 2019. I'm finished with 2018. So those are all the firm plans I have. I think when I go to Six Flags Great America, I'll also check out either Michigan's Adventure or those parks in Wisconsin Dells, one or the other. I have a friend who lives in Chicago, so I'm going to get him to haul me all over the place. So we'll see what I get up to, because I'm only planning on going there for like 2 days or so. I've never actually been to Chicago, so I'm looking forward to it. Looks like a cool city. So those are the plans I definitely have in place. Beyond that, we'll see. I'll probably might go to Riding of the Bull again. That's always fun, because El Toro is an extremely good ride. And I might go to Knoebels this year. It's been 2 years since I've been there, and for some reason every time I go there, the Gerstlauer, I think it's a Gerstlauer ride they have, has been closed, so I have not yet been able to ride that. So so you see, I have a lot of plans, and I'm going to be filming things left and right. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with everybody. I think it'll be a lot of fun, so stay tuned for all that. But we're still going to continue with, like I said, with Planet Coaster and No Limits 2. Filming actual coasters will just give me a break sometimes from the creative process, because it's not like you can constantly have ideas coming and going. So with that being said, all that yip yap aside, I decided to put a canopy. Let's get back to the ride. I decided to put some sort of roof on this structure up here. I was at first thinking of putting a trebuchet or something up here, which would make sense that they would have not just a lookout point, but also an offensive point. But I thought, whatever, I'm not doing all that. Let's just have the lookout, and that'll do. So I'm building just a simple little roof up here. I didn't think it needed anything fancy, and besides, if I do make something really fancy for the station, I don't really want the top of the lift to compete with that. It should compete with it visually in terms of height, because it's going to be much higher up, but I don't necessarily want it to compete with it in terms of grandeur. So and I don't know if you can hear my cat. He's here rubbing on my feet and wanting attention like always. So you can see I kind of changed up the tower that I had just a little bit and set it off to the side to give some of that asymmetry I was talking about. And that's just one more way that they can get up just a little bit higher to see what's going on. And one of the things that is set up here is that this is one point where they can see, and then the two other lookout towers are at places that their view would be blocked. One is at the top of the waterfall, and one is behind this one, where some trees and mountains and so forth would block the view from this one to an extent. So the village should be pretty well protected. And then I decided that the little, how'd you get off me? The cat's all over me. I decided that the little structure I use to support this is probably not sturdy enough. So let's add some ropes to kind of anchor it down a little bit. Obviously, they didn't bring in a civil engineer, so I don't know how accurate this is in terms of get down, cat. How accurate this is in terms of actually being able to support that, but we're just going for aesthetics here, so it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. So, and then I thought maybe I'd put this cowboy dude, I might move him around and make it look like there's actually someone up here, but that didn't work out. So for now, we're pretty much finished with this build. In the next episode, I'm going to work on the living quarters, maybe start working on the queue, and that's it for now. I'm going to have some cinematics, and then I'll see you next time. Until then, enjoy the ride.